With the conclusion of the NBA Combine in Chicago, the Atlanta Hawks' next moves have been made clear. You all have definitely let yourselves be heard in the comment section of this page. You guys have talked about the Atlanta Hawks moving from the number 8 position down in order to pick up Aday Mara. But guys, after what he has done at the NBA Combine, he has definitely made his name ring amongst all of the different scouts and coaches. And I've also got some information from a particular source. I'm definitely going to bring it to you guys shortly. But this source have basically said that this man has moved up in the draft order. And to be honest, he could possibly be one of the top 10 players in this year's draft, which definitely bodes well for the Atlanta Hawks, because at the conclusion of the NBA playoffs, or conclusion of the Atlanta Hawks time in the NBA playoffs, we can definitely see that somebody like Aday Mara is definitely needed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break everything down. Of course, myself and Mike Kabrinsky, we've talked about it earlier in an earlier post. We've talked about how Aday Mara is definitely somebody that is of importance for the Atlanta Hawks. But of course, Aday Mara has been, at the time was looked at as a lower tier draft pick, still a first round draft pick, but not in the top 10. But after his performance in the NBA Combine, this guy has definitely moved up in the draft order, and I am super excited to talk to you guys about it. Let me go ahead and welcome everybody in. What's going on, everybody? My name is Walter Pollard. This is Atlanta Hawks Digest. I am extremely happy to be here. Thank you to you all for getting this page to 4,000. No, I'm sorry, not 4,000. 4,200 subscribers. We do appreciate you guys. Myself, Chris Tipmore, Mike Kabrinsky, we do our damnedest to make sure that you guys get all of the Hawks information, news and information, up to date, late breaking. If there's developing stories, we'll definitely make sure we keep you guys updated as well. Again, this Atlanta Hawks offseason is definitely off to a fiery start. I wish that it didn't happen the way that it did, of course, after the Hawks lost to the New York Knicks in such a way. Oh, my gosh. Being eliminated at home by 51 points in Game 6, it just was not in the cards for the Atlanta Hawks. I didn't have that on my bingo card, for real. So with that, of course, this offseason has definitely gotten off to a really, really strong start with rumors talking about the Atlanta Hawks pursuing Isaiah Hartenstein. And then not only Hartenstein, but then you've got Austin Reeves, somebody that could possibly be headed here. You guys have made yourself clear. I even think I agree with you all wholeheartedly when I say we might not want this gentleman here in Atlanta. So definitely we're off to a strong start. And I think more Hawks fans are more in tune with what's going on with the Atlanta Hawks and the Hawks front office. Now, again, Onsi Saleh, I said it before, he has his work cut out for him this offseason. It is very important that Onsi Saleh goes at this the right way. And I think he's done so far. Again, Onsi Saleh is very was very instrumental, and I think really was the hand that moved the needle. He was able to move Trae Young to the Washington Wizards, bringing in CJ McCollum, bringing in Corey Kispert, and also, too, even in the offseason, bringing in Nickeil Alexander-Walker along with Luke Kennard and Kristaps Porzingis. He then moved Kristaps Porzingis to Luke Kennard to other places. But again, and also bringing in Jonathan Kuminga for Kristaps Porzingis. So I would say that I 100% trust Onsi Saleh in what he plans on doing. Now, again, in the comment section, I've read that majority of you have said, and this is at the beginning of the Hawks offseason, and actually after the draft, after the NBA draft lottery, and we found out that the Atlanta Hawks were at the number 8 position for the NBA draft, a lot of people said we should drop down. We should give away our number 8 pick, move down in the draft order, and pick up Aday Mara. My colleague Chris Tipmore had even posted about a potential trade that the Atlanta Hawks could possibly be involved in, where we would trade away our number 8 pick. So again, we know a lot of the what ifs and possibilities and hyperboles and all of that good stuff. But one thing I do find interesting is that what you guys have talked about, moving down or trading away our number 8 pick to move down in the pit, in the draft lottery, not draft lottery, but in the draft order. Again, I feel as though this is great that we do not have to do so. Okay, Aday Mara, after his performance in the NBA draft combine, it basically shows that the Atlanta Hawks might not need to do so. Okay, Aday Mara, arguably, in a lot of different scouts and coaches' opinions, not even going to say opinions, but in their viewpoint, Aday Mara is going to move up in the draft order, and I think that's great. He's moved into a top 10 position, and this is coming after his performance at the draft combine. As you can see, he stands very tall, barefoot. Watch this. He stands barefoot at 6'3". Okay. No, I'm sorry, not 6'3", 7'3". Okay. 7'3". As well. Let me go ahead and get this information really quick. Yeah, barefoot, 7'3", 260 pounds, a 7-foot wingspan. So again, this guy is definitely of some importance. And I'm gonna pull up another clip really quickly. Yeah, at 7'3", barefoot. I think he's a 7'4" with shoes on, 7'6" wingspan, 9 foot 9 inch standing reach. So he's almost at 10 foot standing reach with his hands held high. And again, just really good for the Atlanta Hawks. He fits the Atlanta Hawks as far as what they need and how they need him, going forward. Now, one of the things that, again, in this last clip that I just showed you guys, that a lot of people have been talking about was his outside shooting. His three-point shooting, and I saw this come up in different articles. I don't feel as though that is going to be a direct need. Okay, I do not feel as though that is a direct need from this gentleman. We already have a shooting big in Onyeka Okongwu, standing at 6'9". So we don't necessarily need this gentleman to shoot three-pointers. One of the things that he actually does quite well, in my honest opinion, is he is almost like a big point guard. He is able to, pass the ball. He's able to find different players in different spots. This is his highlights from his time in the NCAA tournament, playing at Michigan. Again, Aday Mara is very talented at getting his spots, getting the ball to different players, as well as he's able to play the traditional role of a big man. So again, I really do believe that this guy will be very good for the Atlanta Hawks, and the Hawks can definitely get him at the number 8 spot. This was actually a tweet from Brett Siegel. Brett Siegel, NBA, he basically he tweeted, Aday Mara's stock continues to rise. Just had a conversation with one scout a little bit ago who is now projecting Mara to be a top 10 pick in this year's draft. We will see where Mara moves over the next few weeks, but he has entered the second tier of prospects in the draft. And this is coming from Brett Siegel. So again, this is definitely some really big news. And again, this is big for the Atlanta Hawks because we definitely need that. Again, looking at the NBA playoffs versus the New York Knicks, it was glaring that the Atlanta Hawks needed a big man. Unfortunately, our big man, and his name skips me for some reason, but the guy that we did have going into the NBA playoffs, he ended up getting injured. We just didn't have him available. And I will say our depth at big man it just wasn't there. We have a lot of 6'9", 6'7", 6'8" guys, and basically running small ball throughout the NBA playoffs. It just did not bode well for the Atlanta Hawks. And you can see going into the playoffs that having a big man, being able to play a half-court offense would definitely bode well for us, but unfortunately, the Hawks were not able to do so. So we know now what we need to do, what needs to be addressed in this year's NBA draft. And with Aday Mara moving up in or his draft stock moving up and him moving into the second tier of NBA play or NBA prospects, this definitely bodes well for the Atlanta Hawks. It bodes well for Onsi, Saleh, and I am super excited to see how things are going to progress. Again, the draft is coming up next month, and I am super excited to see what's going down for the Atlanta Hawks. We hold the number 8 position in this year's draft. I don't believe, and this is from my opinion, I don't believe it would be great for the Hawks to move off of that number 8 position, especially with Aday Mara moving up in his draft stock. Especially with him moving up in the draft stock. Again, just other things that can translate into the NBA is his automatic lob target. He's a lob target automatically. He's also he's an elite rim contesting potential. He can definitely contest at the rim. He stands at 7'3" barefooted. So I know for a fact he's going to be a big rim protector. He's going to be a defensive force in the paint. Okay, huge catch radius for whatever point guard we decide to bring in. So his size alone gives the Atlanta Hawks a major advantage given off of what our performance was like in the playoffs last season. So with all that being said, this gentleman, his stock moves up. The Atlanta Hawks, they hold the number 8 position in the NBA draft. I said we hold on to that position and we go ahead and we get Aday Mara. I do believe we go ahead and get him at the number 8 position. But you guys tell me what you think. Again, with the news of him moving up in the his stock moving up in the draft prospects, you guys let me know how you feel. My name is Walter Pollard. This is Atlanta Hawks Digest, and I'm signing out. Peace.